Okay, Peg Burns, Gospel Nonviolence Curriculum, Our Golden Thread. This is an immediate follow-up to the impression, the coming of Constantinian Christianity. So you wouldn't necessarily give it to the children right away, to young students right away, but we present it right away because we just keep in the flow very strongly. So in this portion, we're talking about the outcomes. So we're going to use one layer to show the darkening that happened with Constantinian Christianity. Less light of Jesus available. But Jesus' light is still there, still the foundation. And we're not going to be too particular. So what happened after Christianity was legalized? Well, this beginning portion is difficult to talk about, and frankly, it's difficult to understand. The way I understand it now is the forced peace of the Roman Empire collapsed when the Roman Empire collapsed. And so there were, it was kind of back to invasions of small tribes against each other. So barbarian invasions, meaning non-Greeks and maybe non-Romans, people from different parts of especially Europe invading each other. There was a king named Clovis who has some weight, and I can't say much more about it than that. There was Charlemagne. We have the Council of Narbonne that said, a Christian who kills another Christian spills the blood of Christ. So at this point, everyone is, I would say Catholic, everyone is Christian because the Reformation didn't happen. During this time, we had Christians in the Crusades, meaning they were killing Muslims because the Muslims wouldn't convert. They were trying to force conversions. And so that was going on for that length of time, over almost 200 years. In 1288, the Inquisition started. So this was actually going to the Holy Land and taking over the land and killing people who were in their way. And the Inquisition is when we're killing people either because we thought they were heretics, not living the faith properly, or they were Jews or Muslims and they wouldn't convert. So that's some of the outcome of Constantinian Christianity. Okay. So what we have going on here is largely Christians doing great violence to other Christians, clearly sometimes Jews as well. We had the beginning of the Atlantic slave trade. We had the beginning of the annihilation of the American Indian. Witch hunts. The 100 Years' War. For 100 years, war raged in areas of Europe. The European Wars of Religion. These were about Catholics versus Protestants. The different Protestant denominations were starting to come. The Albigensian Crusade, that heresy, was met with violence. Whole communities wiped out. That was way back here. The 30 Years' War, that was part of what we'd call the European Wars of Religion. There was the U.S., well, let's do this. St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre. On a particular day when we usually celebrate St. Bartholomew, there was a massacre that lasted that day, extremely bloody. I think the writings are, there's blood up to your ankles or knees flowing in the streets. This was in 1572, St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre. The U.S. Civil War. We had World War I. World War II. I'm going to move this down just so it can be seen. The death penalty. Now we know Pope Francis has said that death penalty is always evil, but that doesn't mean the people who are Catholics and Christians believe that yet. So there's an attempt to change that. The American Revolutionary War, 1775. I'm just doing these as they come. The Vietnam War, the Korean War, the War of 1812, 7 Years' War, the Napoleonic Wars. And this does not include any of the conflicts or wars that the United States has been in since Vietnam. So we know that's huge in terms of Christians killing. Maybe it's less Christians killing Christians, but I don't spend time making that distinction. Even though we do have this Council of Narbonne important document, Christians killing is not the way of Jesus. That's all there is to it. So we do this in a kind of a quick sweep so the children can see, the student can see that there's many, almost constant warring going on by Christians when the first 3 centuries, the time closest to Jesus, was no killing whatsoever for any reason. And this is just the reality. We can if you want to dicker about anything with these, you can dicker. But the fact is, Christians were killing in tremendous amounts. It was just constant, and it's still constant. We follow up this presentation with a work that I call The Solution. We look at individual wars. It's not meant to be a time of going deeply into the history of the wars. That's not what gospel nonviolence really wants. What we want to do is remember the situation, notice some of them have apologies from Pope Benedict the 16th. Notice what we can do, what is the solution now so that we can live that way. So that will be another video.